Now it's time for the press review, and the repercussions of the Wagner Group's aborted rebellion in Russia continues to dominate the headlines today. Dipty's going to look at what the African press are saying, where the group has a very strong presence, Dipty, doesn't it?
That's right, Stuart. The Wagner Group has been well present in Mali, where the UN accuses it and Malian authorities of being behind a massacre of 500 civilians in the village of Moura. Its murky presence is also well documented in the Central African Republic, Libya, Mozambique, and Sudan. The future of its 5,000 or so mercenary soldiers in Africa, on the African continent, is unknown right now. That's what Africa News here, this website, says, especially after Yevgeny Prigozhin went into exile in Belarus following that halted rebellion. Now, the Kremlin says that it will allow the group to continue its activities, its operations in the Central African Republic and Mali. But this Burkinabe paper, Wakat Sarah here, says rather sarcastically that the Wagner rebellion has revealed to the world what we already knew, that Wagner is well present in Mali. Furthermore, the paper says they're being paid astronomical amounts of money to act as instructors to the local army in a country where poverty is rife.
Yeah, you found lots of warnings as well, haven't you, from the Pan-African media today about that aborted rebellion, Dipty, and the lessons as well to be learned.
Yeah, it's a really interesting article from Le Jelly, which is a Guinean news website. In this article here, it says that what happened in that aborted rebellion should be a warning to countries in Africa. The paper saying there will be no doubt a sense of unease washing over the countries that do have wheelings and dealings with the Wagner Group. Seeing Prigozhin defy Putin might make these African leaders also fear a similar humiliation. The news website says, what would stop Wagner from trying to take control, for instance, of an entire region of Mali and then blocking access to it, then cutting access to the Malian government? So a warning, really, from this paper here.
Now let's move to something different. US Republican presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis has unveiled his border policy plan. It pitches a very hardline stance on policing the border with Mexico, doesn't it? That's
right, it does indeed. The plan, which the New York Times says mirrors many immigration talking points laid out by Republicans, promises to finish building the border wall, among other things, and also ending the legal right of all children born on U.S. soil to become citizens automatically. It also threatens to send the U.S. military into Mexico if the country doesn't comply with border security. For one paper, the Texas Tribune, DeSantis' immigration platform was unveiled with Donald Trump in mind. To that effect, Donald Trump's team also responded, posting an insulting tweet comparing DeSantis' plan to the sort of Fisher-Price version of building the wall compared to Donald Trump's plan. So a war of words, if you like, on social media. Something we expect.
Yes, of course. Now, he was the oldest Nobel Prize winner, John Goodenough, widely credited as the creator of the lithium-ion batteries, passed away, though.
Yeah, that's right. You've probably never heard of him, actually, Stuart. His name was John Goodenough, but his reputation, his destiny was far greater than his surname suggested. The Nobel Prize winner developed the lithium-ion battery, i.e. the thing that pretty much powers every electrical device you have today. His breakthrough came back in 1980. He was working at the University of Oxford. He made a cathode with layers of lithium and cobalt oxide that produced a safer and stronger voltage than batteries typically at the time made with lead acid, for instance, that you find in cars. He was working well into his 90s, continuing his research. He passed away at the age of 100, and when he won his Nobel Prize for chemistry back a few years ago, he was actually the oldest Nobel laureate.
Now, how often do you skip work? Have a listen to this. A teacher in Italy has been sacked after her absence. 24 years she's been a teacher. Guess how many years she was off? 20, Dipty.
That's right. She skipped class for 20 years. That's what the Times of London says. It was a ruling that has now been upheld by Italy's Supreme Court, no less. This Italian literature and philosophy teacher, described as the worst employee in Italy, somehow managed not to turn up for 20 of the 24 years that she was working as a teacher. Either she was sick, or she was on holiday, or she was attending conferences. She'd been previously sacked, but somehow managed to get her job back each time after going back to taking her employer to court. So this ruling really a sign of how hard it is to fire somebody in Italy. During the time that she worked, she often borrowed textbooks from students and sent text messages in class. Now that she's been managed to be sacked when she was reached for a comment by journalists, she said she was unavailable because she was at the beach.
Very nice. Okay, all right for some. Dipti with the press review. She'll be back tomorrow. Maybe. Who knows?